All right, I'm really excited to tell you this story, and I'm kind of nervous telling it as well because everybody that knows me knows I have no problem doing public speaking. I actually love it, I enjoy it. But I usually talk about business outcomes, measurement, transformation, agile. And today I'm going to tell you about a very personal story that I've been going through over the last year. What I hope that you get out of it is really thinking about you yourself as a change leader and what you're capable of doing. I think without realizing, we put ourselves in a box, right? Who is in the IT transformation, I transform IT box? Raise your hand if you've been in that box for the last year, transforming IT. Who is in the I am transforming the business side box, right? Who is the I'm a leadership development, that's what I do, okay, wonderful. So I just want to share with you what are we capable of doing as business agility change leaders? The skills that you have, the ability to listen, to pivot, to learn, to inspect, to adapt, to test, I really think they're universal, and I want to challenge us to think broader than what we do today, so that's sort of the story. So yes, it will be very Sudan-oriented, but I want you to kind of pay attention to the personal part of my own journey. So this is the background, this is my beautiful family, and I'm the CEO of Agility Health, and I've been in this business for a while in agile transformation. I actually recently changed the company. Our name of our company was Agile Transformation. We changed it to Agility Health because we really believe it's beyond agile now. It's really about enterprise agility, and there's so much to it. But I know that my background, what I'm good at, what the skills that I have is vision, strategy. I know that I'm good at teaching and educating and evangelizing an idea. And I know that I'm also good at being authentic and speaking from my heart and telling you today that I'm very vulnerable telling you this story. So those are things that I have as skills. I want you to think about that because you have skills too that you bring to the table. So those were what I had. I'm curious if you guys can help me out over here. Just take out your phone, if you don't mind, and go to slido.com. Just a quick interaction here, because I'm curious what you feel it takes for you to lead big change. And when you go to slido.com, just enter R450, and then answer this question: what traits and beliefs are needed to lead something big, a big change? Slido.com, R450, what traits and beliefs? Team back over there, can you switch to the view, please, if you don't mind? Thank you. Caring about people, courage, passion, courage, hope, vision, transparency, empathy, integrity, clarity, love that one, do the impossible, yes, vulnerability, a growth mindset, willingness or a need, bravery, grit, being humble, humility, having intelligent people around you. Gosh, faith in God. I don't know how many of you are out here faithful, but faith is really huge. Stamina, sense of urgency, thick skin. I love it. I love it. Do you guys feel like we need this as business agility leaders? Do we need those every day, right? Because you're all leading very big changes. Thank you. If we can switch back to the slides again. So last year and the year before, did this big presentation that a lot of people loved, and it was called Be Bold, Be Real, and Lead with Love. And Evan Leborn has told me that should be the book that I publish one day, because that's really been my life story, my leadership style, is to be very bold, have really big dreams, and the big part of this is leading with love and coming at everything from a heart. And my mother was in the first presentation. She didn't know she was going to be there, but I really told everybody that behind every strong woman, there's a stronger one. And my mother has raised me up to not be fearful and to take chances and to try things without that fear. So all of these things that I had shared in that room, in this session, were put to the test for me, which is having big dreams, learning and experimenting, believing in yourself, being fearless, building a strong team, setting goals, and staying focused. That's what I was preaching, and I found myself having to face. So what are you going to do now that you have a very big problem in front of you that you have to solve, that you don't feel equipped to do? Are you going to walk the walk, or are you just going to talk the talk? Do you guys sometimes face that, right? You preach a lot of different things, and then you're like, oops, it's right here. I'm supposed to now go do it. I got to tell you about Sudan. Very quickly, I won't make it a long history lesson, but this gentleman over here, al-Bashir, Omar al-Bashir took power in 1989. The second day from him taking power, he executed live 28 military generals that were the top in Sudan. There were 2 that were missing that day. Number 29 was my father, Taj al-Siralata, and another friend. So the moment that he took power, he was going to execute my father. My father luckily was able to escape, and so he became one of the very first folks that formed an anti-government movement and an opposition group. So that's just some personal history that you need to know. Why am I tied to Sudan? I'm tied to it because my father was one of the first folks that was going to be killed in this. 1993, we got added to the state terrorist list. That's a naughty list to be on. You get no love from the world if you are a state-sponsored terrorist list. Nobody wants to do business with you. Nobody, I mean, except for Russia and China. Those are the only 2 countries that are doing business. But guys, I cannot even explain to you the level of impact that it has for you to be on the naughty list, right? Just unbelievable. We are still working extremely hard right now to be removed from the SST list. So then after that, you guys heard of Darfur, the big genocide, hundreds of thousands of people dying? So he got convicted in the ICC, the International Criminal. Do you think he got caught at all at that time? No. So dictators don't really get caught. He just stayed in Sudan. He traveled around. Nothing really happened to him, except that he was actually charged. In December 19th, not last year, but the year before, it started. People were fed up. Sudan is 60% youth under 25 years old. So this is a very young culture, and they just said enough is enough. We are so tired. We're tired of the oppression. We're tired of the 30-year dictatorship. And they came out to the streets and they said freedom, justice, and peace. And they came out thousands, and they came out in the millions. And then they had a sit-in. A sit-in is where they went to the actual military compounds. And I'm not kidding you, millions of people just sat out in the streets and said, we're not moving. We're not going to move from here until you change this government. We're not. We've had it. It's not about bread. It's not about oil. It's not about gas anymore. It is about we don't want you anymore. Get out. And so it was really tense. It was really tense. And of course, this is now, we've got social media, WhatsApp, Facebook, everything. We're getting like live. And this sit-in area that they were all sitting in, it became a beautiful little, almost a piece of democracy. There was music. There were public speech, there was children, they did schools, they organized themselves, they created like health centers. It was unbelievable what the sit-in became in Sudan. It became like a beacon of freedom. And then of course, the military decided to break up the sit-in and kill the people that were on the street and do a massacre. And the massacre was sent to us on WhatsApp Live. So I just want you to think about the terror and the horror that I was going through last year. First of all, my father passed away last year in February. Sudan was going through all of this, and I just felt I had to get involved. Like, what am I gonna do? We have this transformation background. We know how to help, solve big problems. How could I just take a step back and not do anything? Like, what am I gonna do? Ahmed's laughing because I'm sure you'd do the same thing for Egypt, which you probably did. Long story short, I'm fast forwarding you, and then I'm going to tell you the story. In April 11th, Bashir was outset, and he was actually put in jail. And in September of 2019, we got a new president in Sudan. So I just want you to know I'm really proud of this because it's a bottom-up movement, and it's the first in a really long decade where it was a non-violent movement that actually outset a dictator, and trust me, dictators do not want to be outset. They stay for a very long time. Some beautiful pictures I wanted to share with you is this was led by the women and the youth. The voice of the women was strong, and it was really a very big impact to this transformation. And they all came out, and it looked crazy, and it was almost euphoria. Like, I can't even describe to you how people were feeling that they actually were able to change the country. One of the greatest outcomes, Philippi, is that Sudan turned green and got a 3+ rating on the freedom, more than the United States of America. How about that? right? So getting a country, we don't score, Sudan does not score high on any index around the world, like 0. And so on the Freedom Index, but I want you to know this is very temporary, and I hope it's gonna be like this, and it will, but it's volatile. Just like the US is volatile right now, everything in a democracy, in a new democracy, is very volatile. So I'm gonna tell you very quickly of what did I do to help Sudan, and how did I use my skills. First thing that I did is I created a video. That wall that you see behind me is actually at Agility Health at our company. And what does every Agilist do when they have an idea? They use a flip chart, right? They write the idea on Post-it notes in a flip chart, and I swear that's pretty much what I did. I put up this flip chart. I talked about this vision. I listened a lot, by the way. I asked a lot of people, what can we do to help? And they said there's been a brain drain in Sudan. All of the experts, all of the smart people, all the PhDs, and there are many of them, have left the country. Who's going to help Sudan? And the only way to help Sudan is if these experts unite and dedicate their time and energy to lift up the country and leapfrog it. So I said, great, that's what we'll do. Created this video, published it online. It went viral. We created a Facebook page. We immediately had almost 80,000 to 100,000 followers. And I created a Google form, because that was the fastest thing I can do, to get experts to sign up that wanted to help Sudan. And we had about 1,000 experts from around the world in every field that you can think about. I want you to know that I'm not an activist. I do not have a nonprofit background. I'm not a social entrepreneur. This is all new to me. So then I decided I'm going to go to Congress, and I'm going to give a big speech, which is on the right side over there. And I gave a big speech in front of Congress that went viral. Do you see the 1.2 million views down over there? Which got me invited to speak at Al Jazeera, right? To get familiar with the Al Jazeera network, to be an activist and speak about why Sudan has to change. When I did this, Sudan was under an internet lockdown. So they shut down the whole country. We couldn't speak to them anymore. You couldn't even call people easily, because they didn't want them to protest again and come out. And so we, the people outside of Sudan in every country, decided to come up and be their voice. And that's actually exactly what I said at Al Jazeera. Is I said, my message for you, because he wasn't outset yet, is that the more you shut down our people, the louder we will be, and the more likely you'll be outset. So I said, be very careful. So I gave this harsh message of big girl, big pants. And I swear to you, every moment that I'm doing this, what do you think I'm questioning in my head? What the heck are you doing? You don't know how to do this. This is not, like, I am not like I said, I'm not an activist. I just kept taking it one step at a time, one step at a time. I registered a nonprofit organization called Sudan Next Gen. We built a platform, and we really organized ourselves and said, okay, what do I know how to do? I know how to build platforms. That's why I built Agility Health. I know how to use technology as a way of enabling a transformation. So let's build a platform to unify all these experts and to organize them around outcomes for the company, not the company. See, I still speak in business terms, for the government. The government has to have transformation outcomes. They have to know what it is that they're trying to do every year, and I need all of the projects and the experts to align to them so they don't get scattered. Here's just an example of what the homepage looks like. It's pretty cool and dynamic. I hired one developer in India, and I spent days and nights. Most of my development time on this project was during the sit-in and during the breakup and when people were dying in Sudan. I was either going to fall into deep depression because of the videos that I was getting, or I was going to do something. And my mother still used to say, what are you doing? She'd find me sitting day and night working on this platform for them, and she'd be like, people are dying on the street, Sally. It's all falling apart. What are you doing? And I'm like, it's going to turn around, and when it does, they're going to need something to help them transform, so I'm just working ahead, Mother. Like, please leave me alone. I'm working ahead. I'm planning for the future. So we have, it's a self-registration portal. 475 experts from around the world have registered to help Sudan. You can see their profiles, and you can filter them by what country they're in. I also built pages for all the ministries so that they can list their priorities, their strategic objectives, and the outcomes, because I wanted to make sure that everybody's aligned. They said that the biggest problem in government transformations is when multiple projects get funded or created, but they're not aligned towards something specific that the ministry wants. I created a portal where they can add the projects, and we have about 137 right now that are registered. So what do you think our biggest problem now? We have the projects. What's the problem? Funding. Where'd you get the money from? As long as you're on the naughty list of the SST list, a lot of the big countries don't want to help yet until you're really removed from the state sponsor. So I don't know what the answer is. We're just taking it step at a time. We're taking it step at a time to figure out, so now how do we get these funded? How do we qualify them? How do we know and figure out the ones that really can help Sudan? I found 50 amazing experts that are willing to give back, and they all went back to Sudan in December and trained over 1,400 people on their skill set. They did conflict resolution, leadership, and of course, as you can imagine, agile, right? So the big agile movement, I say, has started in Sudan. And why do you think agile would help right now in a country that's completely torn apart? VUCA, exactly. There's so much uncertainty. And I cannot tell you the amount of passion that everybody has for changing that country and moving it forward. But guys, can you move anything forward without having a team? Any idea will not move forward without a team. And if a team doesn't have basic agile practices, they don't know how to move forward. So what I told them is, all of you people that have ideas for helping Sudan have to learn teamwork. You have to learn how to come together. You have to learn how to organize your backlog. You have to learn how to hold yourselves accountable, because all these small social projects need structure for them to move forward. So it has been amazing results and amazing engagement. We had over 400 people just come to this first Agile workshop. We did one 2 weeks ago with another 200. And I've never heard Agile being taught in Arabic. It was like the 4 values and the principles and the stand-ups, and of course Trello's the famous thing right now, but sitting back and finding these other Agile trainers and listening to them speak about the values and the principles and how it related to Sudan, I mean, I can't tell you, I actually really had like teary eyes. I'm like, I cannot believe that my country and those people are learning Agile right now. Like, this is really a new movement. We created an e-learning platform, so we recorded a bunch of those videos and made them available for people to watch at any time, and I spent my own time recording several of them. And then I finally got to meet the president, the new prime minister. He came to DC over here, and I scheduled a meeting for him to meet with all of the other big NGOs, but I was the primary facilitator, and I will be going back and teaching a leadership agility workshop to the prime minister and his cabinet members, all of the ministries. How cool is that? So, the moral of the story. This little bracelet that I'm wearing, which I did a screenshot of so that you guys can see it. Thank you, Trisha, for this, because it means the world to me. But I've been needing this actually quite a bit lately because of a lot that's going on. But it says, "She believed she could, so she did." And I just want you to know that sometimes all it takes is for you to actually believe that the impossible is possible. And do you guys feel like we need that right now in all of the uncertainty that we've got going on? I think I want to challenge you to think about, how are we going to see what's happening today and find light in it, or think differently about it? How are we going to not let the current crisis go to waste and make it an opportunity? I want you to know that you're all skilled in ways that you don't even understand, right? Your impact and what you can do, these are some of my lessons learned, our skills as change leaders, they're transferable. They apply to any area that you actually want to make an impact on. A lot of what I've been teaching about test it, nail it, scale it, right, was right there. I had to just use that when I was helping Sudan. I had no knowledge of the government, economics, healthcare. I mean, the WhatsApp groups that I'm in right now and everything they talk about are like over my head. They're talking about economy, solar power, energy. They're talking about things that I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't been exposed to it, but I'm learning. I'm learning this new domain, and all of you are capable of learning. So it really just takes your belief in yourself, your ability to learn, and bringing all these skills to kind of break yourself out of the box that you're in right now. Again, you might be in the IT box. You might be in the I only do marketing and sales. I only do business. But I want you to know you can do anything that you really put your mind to if you bring those skill sets with you. So my final message is always, be bold, be real, and lead with love. Thank you so much for hearing my story.